Alrighty, activity 9-2 should have reset your VMs in activity 9.1. So we're going to create a service account to use for the next task. So a service account is an account used to run services on servers. So services run in the background. The whole point of the service account is for the service to have its own unique username and password. The password is not known by anybody. The password is managed by Active Directory and is rotated, I believe, on like a monthly basis. And it actually looks like -10 hours. So it rotates regularly. That way, if the account's compromised, it's less likely to be able to be used by an attacker. And it's not known by people. It's a super long, random password. So we got on DC1, open PowerShell, and ADS, root key, time. So we're going to do a little nesting here. So we're going to do a get date nested in this thing here. Now we're going to add hours to that. And we're going to add a -10 hours. And I typed something wrong. Let's see. Make this a little more readable here. So, type this wrong. There we go. All right, so it creates a nice little GUID there. All right, so next one here, we're going to type in a really long PowerShell command, which is actually going to create the account. So new AD service account, we're going to name it ADFS SVC. Always a good idea to put SVC or service in the name just so it's obvious what it is. Yes. Losing my typing here. It's like, I don't know why there's delaying so bad. I guess everybody's hogging up the servers trying to finish tasks. All right, so we're going to put the fully qualified domain name in here, server dc1.mcsa2016.local. And service principal name. And in this case, it's going to be http://server dc1.mcsa2016.local. You'll see in a lot of these PowerShell commands, you're duplicating the same thing in multiple places. But really, it's just saying that DNS host name is this, service principal name is basically the web version of that for this. So that succeeded. All right, so the next part is going to be create a self-signed certificate for the server. So new self-signed certificate, certificate store, location, cert : /local machine, my DNS. Oops. name ADFS NCSA 2016 dot local. Now, see, in best practice, you wouldn't use a self-signed certificate because it wouldn't be trusted by other machines. You want to use one signed by a certificate authority like we did in the previous chapters, or a third party if you're paying for a certificate from a third party for external trust. The internal trust, the Active Directory certificate authority would work fine for doing that. Alright, let's see if we typed that right. Looks like we did. So we got our name, we got our thumbprint. And from here we'll continue the next activity. In this case, we'll install the role. Alright, we'll just continue on to 9-3 since it's just adding on to what we've just done. We'll go back to Server Manager, Manage, Add Roles and Features. Role-based configuration. This server we're on, server DC1. And we're going to add Active Directory Federation Services. Remember, Federation Services is for web single sign-on and federation with third parties for single sign-on services and capabilities. Okay, so let's scroll all the way through. Install. Let it finish. Alright, our role installed. Go ahead and close out here. Alright, so now that we have that role installed, it still needs to be configured. So if we go up to our notifications, we have post-deployment configuration still to do. So we'll configure the Federation service. Alright, we're configuring the Federation on the server, and we're creating the first server in the Federation server farm. Okay, so now we will just accept the default credentials. Again, in the real world, it'd be best to use a different account. Alright, our certificate, we're going to use that one we created, which that has our name there. So let's see. Federation display name. So we'll do FS GSA 2016. Alright, account name. So they want us to use that service account we created. So this is where we're going to use the account that managed service account that we created. We'll type that in there. Actually, did we do that? I think we could select it. Let's see what happens. Yep. There's a little error in the book. So we want to use the existing one that we already created here in PowerShell. Oops. Go back to the post-deployment configuration wizard here. Alright, so there's our account that we created. Click Next. Alright, so in the real world, we would not use the Windows internal database probably, unless it was a really small environment. Windows internal database doesn't have very good performance, and it's going to have some limitations in a larger environment, which might cause it to stop working, aside from being very slow. But it will work fine for our lab. All right, so review our configurations. We're using the Federation service as their managed service account. It says it will create it if it does not already exist, but it does exist. We're using the Windows internal database and then configuring it as ADFS MCSA 2016.local. Next, root key was created. Okay, this doesn't matter for us because it's the only domain controller. So we will go ahead. We have a green check here, so we can go ahead and hit configure. Let that finish. All right, so it finished there. Has a green check mark, has a few warnings here. One says it has to be restarted for it to finish. Well, let's see if the next activity requires that because this one did not specify that. All right, let's go around and look in there real quick. Active Directory, Federation Services Management. Not a whole lot to do in here. So we created our certificates earlier. This might fail just because we haven't rebooted yet. Not a whole lot going on. So, yeah. Not very exciting, not a whole lot to do here. So, we'll move on to activity 9-4 now.